everyone obviously grows up differently and has different, lifestyle, and I guess it just comes from, parents. Like, what have your parents taught you about that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I've always been really active.
Yeah.
I've always done big. So come and smell this while you do that. Just come and smell that. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it smells really nice.
But what does it smell like?
Blueberries.
Right. Like, really?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So
I think that the heat kind of brought out the aromas.
yeah, so that smells like blueberries. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how can a coffee smell like blueberries? It's the weirdest thing. So I'm making now a pour over, right, which is a pretty fancy way of making coffee. If you're not using a coffee machine. But yeah, back to fitness and lifestyle. Generally your parents teach you this sort of stuff,
Yeah.
and when people pass down stuff, it's kind of like, who teaches you about mental health, who teaches you about good habits.
Yeah.
Like, it's generally based on your parents,
Yeah,
right?
they're your role models. One thing that really annoys me is
Yeah.
when I'm helping my adult clients who are parents
Yeah.
with their nutrition,
Yeah.
and then I ask them to clean out their pantry or their
Right.
cupboards of all
Right.
of the processed
Yeah.
crap that's in there. They're
Yeah.
like, oh no, I have that in there for my kids. And I'm like,
What?
if it's not good enough for you to eat, it's most definitely not good enough for your children to eat. So just because they're children
Totally.
does not mean that they can get away with eating really addictive,
Yeah.
heavily
I know
processed
I know how
food.
you,
It makes me crazy.
yeah. So I know how you feel. I know my buddy, my best man and buddy, they've got 4 boys, and every time we go to the shops, they come back with everything in a box
Yeah.
and processed and in a wrapper. So like, not natural, not like loads of chips, lots of crap, all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. That drives me mental too.
Yeah, I have a beautiful client that I'm working with, and she's just turned 21, and so she was one of 4
Yep.
growing up and single mum.
Mm-hmm.
So look, I get it, and I have compassion, but she was fed everything from a packet or
Yeah.
a box.
Yeah.
And like, I get it, like the struggle's real, but she's 21,
Yeah.
and for a number of years now she has suffered from bulimia and binge eating disorder, and she has no education whatsoever about nutrition.
Yeah, right.
So there's just no knowledge there whatsoever.
That really hurts me.
It's
it makes
really
me
sad. And, she's doing amazing, and we're working really well together. I won't work with people who have disordered eating if they're not seeing a psychologist.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a psychologist.
Yeah.
But that has come from her childhood.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? Let's just break that down a bit further. And I know you're a beautiful person, and I know that you spend a lot of time with people to be able to unlock that sort of stuff. But what gets me is, how would they know how to find you? Like, you're obviously a very successful, well-known personal trainer, and you work for one of the well-known brands in Sydney. But how do those people go, hey, and this is the mental health piece that gives me shivers talking about it. This is the mental health piece. It's like, you don't know what you don't know. Point 1. You don't know that you've got certain mannerisms that are different from anyone else. You might, right? And so the next piece is, okay, I'm now throwing up every second day because I know I feel bad about what I'm eating, so on and so on, but that's a repeating cycle, right? Let's call it a mental health issue or a situation. Then you kind of get into the place of, okay, my friends aren't doing that, why am I doing that? That's a red flag, right? But if you didn't know about that, then who do you go to next, right? And then generally you get to that place of, right, I can't continue doing this, because when you grow up, you're just like, fuck it, this is not normal. That's another flag. And then what do you do? This is, I think, from a mental health piece, it's like, we'll go to a lawyer and we'll go to a PT and we'll go to an accountant, but who do we go to about our brains and trying to work out, from, and I'm going to tie it back into nutrition. It's like, well, it's like how this beautiful girl who's obviously has stuff and stuff that she's gone through her life, how does she know to speak to Sally? How does she know to go and walk into the gym that you work with? Or how does she get onto Google and go, well, I'm going to find Sally? Like, there's plenty of people out there doing this sort of stuff. How do people like that beautiful girl cut through the noise and come and speak to someone like yourself? Like, just break it down. How do people find awesome people like us that aren't screaming out there going, I think there's a real issue around that.
Well, we're sort of not silenced, but there's a whole lot of really fake
stuff, right?
Craziness.
Yeah.
Out there. So we're sort of like, we just sort of sit here trying to be as transparent, real as possible. And then...
Smell that.
Yeah, it's nice.
It smells like tea, right? Blueberries.
Blueberry tea.
Right? Yeah?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. Social media and all this noise and how your body must look and you must do certain things. That is a massive problem. Like, social media is killing this stuff.
Yeah. Well, I feel like people are more aware of that now.
Shall I put some ice on it for you?
Am I just going to drink it black?
Yeah, because it's a black coffee.
Is that?
It's a type of the way you make this as a pure black. It's good, isn't it? And the colder it gets, the better it's going to taste.
Yeah, it is quite nice. I'm not the biggest fan of black coffee, long blacks, but that's not too intense.
What's the difference now when it's cold?
It's just different. Fake social media bullshit.
Right. Let's just wrap up around these kids. How do they cut through the bullshit? Like, let's just be real about it.
Well,
how do they find people like Sally or me to go, hey, I got stuff and I don't know how to deal with it? Like, it's really hard, right? Like, we don't have to answer it here or find a solution, but we're calling out there is a clear issue around the fact that when you think you have a problem, like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like how do you know that you need to go and think about your fitness and your nutrition, and those are really good habits that if you do that, like, life's going to get a lot better and easier because everyone's given an opportunity to be normal, whatever that means.
Yeah.
But like
or happy
because we've all come from different situations. And I'm just like, even just thinking top of the head, like, when it comes to, wanting to get pregnant, or, there's certain fitness and nutrition that, if you're struggling with trying to, conceive, there's certain things that you can do to help that long. And it's a lot to do with, having your emotional and mental and fitness and nutrition all into place for all that to happen, 100%, right?
100%. Because if someone's really, like, if a female's really stressed out, it's an actual biological, like, your body you will not be able to conceive because your body recognizes that you're stressed, and that is not an environment for you to be able to carry a baby to full term. It's the same as if you're like really underweight. That's another stress for your body saying, we can't, this is not a healthy environment. So there's definitely things that you can do for sure. And
so again, like, maybe let's flip that question and go, what could we, me and you, do better about making sure we're authentic out in the social world? Because I know you went through some stuff recently about on social media, and let's just park that for the moment. But like, you know, what do you think we could do to be more authentic?
For me, I've just sort of been focusing on just really helping people to reestablish a healthy relationship with food.
Yeah.
And, you know, not have to, you know, eat, you know, boiled chicken, broccoli and brown rice every day for you to maintain a healthy body composition or to achieve your physique goals. For me is to start creating more of a community online. I'm going to create a group. It'll be a private group. No BS education. A place for them to sort of ask questions, interact with each other, share recipes, and that sort of thing. So that's sort of one step that I'm taking in order to do what you're
And of course, the reason I wanted you on our show, on our roast along, was obviously because I know you're doing such a good job with people around you, and I've known you for such a long time. So I would love to obviously promote that that channel for you through obviously Barty Single Origin. Because you know you can never have enough Barty in your life.
You can never have enough Barty. Maybe you can.
What do you mean?
Just ask Rochelle.
So, what do you think about that one? When it's a lot.
I like it when it's colder.
Colder.
Yeah.
What are you tasting when it's colder? Like on the palate, like it's clean and smooth, right?
Yeah.
So in my view, that's because it's been roasted to a certain place. It's also a natural bean. There's nothing in there, and I've just brewed it there, so it's quite fresh.
Yeah, I'd be happy to have this one in the morning.
Right, so good one. So this is the coffee that I believe Barty will put into a can. We'll actually take this to a can.
Yeah, that tastes definitely better than the other. No, I like this one.
This one's also
the other
super
ones
natural.
that I've tried.
Yeah.
They were just too.
This is what really makes my blood boil when it comes to this whole coffee stuff and coffee business. Coffee goes off in about 3 weeks.
Cold brew, is that made better with older coffee?
No.
Or is that a myth?
It's a myth. All coffee goes off in 3 weeks.
Okay.
There's a type of coffee, like I said earlier, that's specific for an application, being cold brew.
Yeah.
Because of the way, where it's from and how it tastes and how it's been roasted, that's a specific cold brew. And so, for cold brew, right?
So it's not just the age of the coffee.
No,
okay.
so coffee goes off in 3 weeks, which means that we're generally tasting or drinking off coffee. Well, stale coffee. Could you be possibly putting in a can to make it stay for longer than 6-12 months? Like Nespresso pods, they're all tasting the same. What are they putting into that pod to make it taste the same? So it's not all natural.
Yeah.
So nothing that we're drinking that we think is coffee is actually natural, and it's probably processed somehow and whatever else they inject into it to be able to keep it tasting the same and to be able to sit on the shelf for a very long period of time.
Yeah.
Which sucks, right? So I guess our aim is to stay, completely sustainable, completely all natural, and working with farms to be able to produce, single origins that are not blended coffees or anything like that, so that we're elevating this coffee, specialty coffee thing. But specialty coffee isn't cheap either, right?
Yeah. It's like with anything in life, you get what you pay for.
Yeah. So out of them, which one did you like the most? So you've got the Gunfire from 25-4.
That's that.
Yeah, that's that. Then you've got this guy here, which was the hot version of our pink Barty.
So yeah, that one definitely AM.
Yep. What do you think
And
of
that one definitely a PM.
A PM.
Yeah.
Because of the taste.
Yeah.
But don't you think that's a cool thing? That you taste like whiskey.
Yeah, I would definitely have, like, I would love to create like a some sort of mocktail,
Yep.
I guess,
Yep.
because it's got alcohol in it.
Yeah, well, it would
like
be a mocktail.
A very, like a espresso, like martini kind of.
Which would be a mocktail, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. That's actually a really good idea. Do you like smooth? Do you like harsh? So when I say harsh, burnt
No.
versus, well, some people like burnt.
Yeah,
So there's a
don't.
burnt scale all the way to like smooth.
Smooth's good.
Right. So let's stay at smooth, and then let's talk about the different types of flavors. Would you prefer like a straight? So this is a straight coffee with a bit of touch of like a wine. Like this is more wine fruit led.
Yeah.
And then you go to the other side, which is like sweet and bubblegum and chocolate and honey and like so.
You got a cacao option?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Not. I don't like chocolate. Like chocolate, but I am. I just don't have a sweet tooth.
Right, you don't.
No, I'm very savoury.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm quite sensitive to sweetness.
Right.
And so, but I do like cacao because it's much more bitter.
Right, so we've got this one bean from the Dominican Republic. It's the chocolate Barty. It's honey processed. It's true. It actually tastes like you're biting into a block of like really dark chocolate.
Yeah, nice.
Versus our black Barty, black on black, which is from Ethiopia, and that's a Jagerchef, which is kind of down the middle. It's a beautiful body, really complex, but it just tastes like coffee. So there's flavour, softness, and like tea-like versus sweet chocolate, macadamia and honey and all that sort of stuff. I quite think you're more suited to just a coffee, like a good straight, good coffee that's cold, but it will have complexity around it being obviously smooth. And I just don't think you're the type that would like a peach in a cup.
No.
No? So we've got this beautiful, really expensive coffee that comes from Panama, and it's from the farm called Don Pepe's, where they, when you think about coffee, let's just connect it to wine. Like you spend like, let's say you go and spend $150 on a bottle of red wine, right?
Yeah.
And then you think about champagne.
Yeah.
So this place that we get our coffee from is like the champagne of coffee, where a cup would be around $24-25 a cup.
Yeah.
And so that's from Panama. And it's beautiful, right? Because it feels like a tea. It is still a type of coffee, but then, I just don't think you're into that sort of stuff. No, you're not. You wouldn't be into like a peachy style.
Oh no.
No, you just like straight coffee.
Yeah, I mean, I don't drink a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of trainers, and they drink an enormous amount of it. It's not that I don't enjoy it. I think they actually drink it because they're tired. And so for me, that's a bit of a red flag. To do with your health. So for me, I make sure that I get enough sleep. And I support my training and life through nutrition. And I'm not tired. So I don't feel the need to have coffee to keep me awake. So yeah, I'm just like nothing too fancy for me.
Nothing too fancy.
Yeah.
So the premise around, I guess, Barty, and we'll jump into the roastery, but I guess the premise of Barty is made to order. It's fresh, and we personalize the profile, right? So I I take your point. You know, many people can't drink coffee, or they don't, and there's my view is it should be enjoyed versus it just should be a necessity to get you out of bed, right?
Yeah.
So we're not that. We're more around the specialty side of things, where if you want to enjoy a really nice cup, we've got a variety. And it doesn't have to be drunk every day, but you know, with a good meal, you want to end with a beautiful coffee. Go to a fine dining experience, and they just pour you a shitty black coffee at the end. Like, why wouldn't they, finish that loop?
Yeah.
And I suppose working in the sport space and with the troopers at the moment, you know, there's clear problems around, you know, drinking too much of stuff that you shouldn't be drinking that's not natural.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, it was interesting for you to say, call out, you don't need coffee at all.
But then if I was to have something like this would be for like
an occasion.
An enjoyment factor.
Yeah,
so
right.
I don't rely on caffeine to be stimulated and to be woken up.
Right.
I feel like that's a pretty big indication of bad health as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Really, that's really interesting, because most of the population, first thing they do to actually get going is coffee, right?
Yeah.
And it's really interesting that you should say that
from a sort of a health perspective, you should potentially have your first meal of the day before you have coffee.
Right.
As well, so most people tend to have it first thing. But if you want to, like, it might be splitting hairs. I'm not sure, but the research does say that it's better to have food in your stomach before you have the coffee.
That's really interesting. I personally like to start with a coffee.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's splitting hairs. I'm sure there's like not much in it at all. But I feel like if you can't start your day and be productive without having caffeine, that's a problem as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you either need to work on your sleep, your sleep hygiene. Potentially you might be deficient. It might be sort of like covering up some health issues. So you might be deficient in iron.
Yeah, right.
You might be deficient in vitamin B12.
Yeah, right.
So if that's a problem as far as I'm concerned.
So, wow, this is really insightful.
Well, and even like the withdrawal that people have when they stop drinking coffee, especially if they go cold turkey, it's crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
So why, like, what's it doing? Like, I'm not saying coffee is bad.
No,
if you're drinking it in excessive amounts and potentially not good quality coffee, what is it doing? How is it affecting your body to the point where when you stop having it, it's like a drug addict coming off drugs? It's, you know, I know a couple of people who have recently come off coffee. Yeah. And they felt
terrible,
awful. Yeah. Oh, it was so upsetting to watch, you know. So I mean, what's happening that's causing that withdrawal so badly?
Well, lots of sugar, lots of chemicals in certain coffees. They're not natural, and stale, just being really bad. So obviously, you're talking about caffeine. You're also talking about other stuff that they put into these that give you the withdrawals. There is no doubt about, and we probably agree with this, that, you know, the reason why you have a hangover after a heavy evening on the booze is because of the sugar in the stuff that you're drinking. It's not the actual alcohol.
Yeah, it's being dehydrated.
Correct.
And then all of the other whatever else is in there that you're drinking as well.
Let's jump into the roastery, and I think I've got the perfect bean for you for cold brew. Let's go.
All right, let's go.